Well, hey everybody. Look, there's a lot of AI tools out there, but these are some of the ones that I use specifically, and the ones that I have found in the market are some of the most important tools that are becoming more and more relevant and kind of have staying power here as well. So what we're going to do today is actually, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ardis Kadiu. I'm the founder and CEO of Element 451. If you were in the keynote, Mallory did a great introduction there, but I do a lot of speaking and I host a Generation AI podcast as well. Earlier this year, we talked a lot about skills and tools and practical step to adopting AI for higher education. So I believe that was episode 57 or 58. I have to double check on that. But if you haven't listened to that, please go take a look and please register or sign or rather follow the podcast and subscribe to it so you can kind of get our Tuesday morning drops in there as well. Today, we're going to focus on three categories of tools, right? So we're going to focus on kind of what we call general assistants, and general assistants are things like ChatGPT. So these are your general AI tools that everybody should be using or you should have as part of your day-to-day work. The second one is around research and productivity. So this is a category that kind of flows into some of the assistants and doesn't, so back and forth. But research and productivity tools are, how do you stay productive? How they, embed those into your daily workflows. And then the last one is around media generation. And this category is an interesting one because there's a lot of tools that come up around media generation, images and videos and so on and so forth. But we'll focus on just a few that have been kind of instrumental and I use, every day for a lot of the work that we do. All right. So we're going to start with, obviously, last minute I was thinking, I'm like, no, I'm going to switch number one, but number one is still ChatGPT's one of the fastest tools out there, and it is becoming very quickly. I believe they have about 300 million or four. I have to double check, but 300 to 400 million users. It's one of the fastest and one of the most widely adopted AI agents and what assistants out there. ChatGPT there's three versions of it. There's a free version, there's a plus version, $20 a month, and then there's a pro version, $200 a month. The $200 a month includes the deep research operator, and then some of the more advanced models that they have, plus Sora video generation models. So I'm going to very quickly kind of switch to here, so we can take a look at. Go take a look at ChatGPT very quickly. The next one, I'm going to actually, this is an example that I wanted to show of what you get with ChatGPT Pro, which is the $200 version, is you get this AI assistance, which is called Deep Research. And I talked about this a little bit, but it's become indispensable for me, specifically around searching different topics in the world out there. And it's very, very important that you take a look at these deep research type tools in a lot of the different and a lot of other AI assistant tools that you're going to have throughout, not just ChatGPT, but also some of the other ones as well. So we're going to move forward. I didn't want to include Claude as one of them, but this is an honorable mention in here. So Claude is one of the other assistants that has been around now for quite a while. And usually I used to recommend ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini as well. However, I don't have Gemini in here. Claude has an honorable mention because it's very high quality writing and it's ideal for projects and the sharing work. And of course, its artifacts feature is really, really easy to share content with. The other thing is that they just upgraded their model yesterday. They dropped version 3.7 of their model. So it has reasoning capabilities in there with this extend if you're paying for it, right? And then also it has much better kind of reasoning capabilities and writing and coding capabilities. So it does a lot of really interesting things. Now, if I'm going to go to one of these, one of these kind of projects. What I did today is that I took the agentic AI in higher education, our three of our podcasts with the show notes and the transcripts. I loaded it in here, and what I asked it for is to come up with kind of a presentation outline for me. On top of that, I asked for it, as it did that, it kind of put together, you see these are artifacts, right? So you see these are artifacts that you can actually share and publish independently of Claude in here. You can share these, and this can be other things as well. It's not just writing. This can be graphics, or this can be little mini apps that it can create. But what I did is it created both of these two artifacts that I can share, and it did the show notes for me, or the speaker notes, and it also did the presentation here as well. So pretty cool. Some of the other interesting things is that you can specify different writing styles in here. It has a nice interface for that. It does projects and so on and so forth. So I really like Claude, but it's an honorable mention right now just because I didn't have enough room. One of my favorites, and this is perhaps the best tool that I find I use on my phone. I don't go to Google anymore, and I have trusted Perplexity. Perplexity is probably one of the most powerful search engines and research assistants that you can find right now. And because I love their product team, they're very focused. They're not an AI company, meaning that they're not a frontier lab, so they're not building their own models. They're using other people's models, and they're very quickly, you can come in and incorporate those models, or they're incorporating them into the product, and the product experience is just amazing. So they've done such a good job. So when you go to Perplexity, one of the first things that you're going to see is obviously Ask Anything, but they also have the ability you can set up different models if you want, but also you can test out, some of the reasoning models, like the R1 model from DeepSeek. They came out, they've incorporated that in here. Some of the more reasoning models. So if you don't have access to ChatGPT, you can use a lot of those models in here as well. They've also introduced a deep research tool, and tell me about a MBA program in the wake. Okay, so anyways, we can you can take a look at this, but it's doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and they introduced this deep search or deep research functionality, which is similar to ChatGPT. I still find the ChatGPT version to be more in depth and better reasoning in the background, but they are catching up really quickly around this deep search capability in here. One of the nice things about Perplexity is that, of course, you can come in, and I did a search before where I specifically talked about Grok, and I wanted to understand about it. You can see all the sources in here, media. But one of the nice things in here is that it provides follow-up questions, and it does a really good job at that. And the thing that I appreciate the most is that you can actually export this content, and you can also convert it into what they call pages. So you can convert this into kind of longer research pages that you can share, and essentially you can create your own pages in here. What we have found is that sometimes if you're creating pages based on your research, that's also coming in as being indexed later on by Perplexity itself. So it's really good for kind of injecting some SEO in there for some of the tools so we see that come up quite a bit when you're creating those pages. And of course, you can start sharing, and you can create this Perplexity page in here, and it will actually build this as something that you can kind of share with somebody else. Of course, it has things like spaces that you can load your own content and your own knowledge in there, discovery, where you can kind of go and take a look at some news, and it will kind of make recommendations on that. So really like Perplexity. It has some amazing other things like stock market data and buying and a lot of those tools built in. So things like finance and so on and so forth, that you can search and watch other things. So it's trying to become a Google competitor, so to speak. All right, the next one is Grok, and Grok 3 specifically is the latest and it's perhaps one of the most advanced models, smartest models right now. It's currently the smartest based on AI chatbot arena from XAI. It's designed to provide intelligent conversation assistance, but it kind of grabs data from it's integrated with X, right, with the X platform, so it can kind of bring in real-time information from X. And it has both the deep search component and also the thinking component. So it's really, really good at bringing in and thinking through problems. And I have found it, as I've been using it over the last kind of 4, 5 days, it's been really interesting and really good. And because of the real feed from X, it provides more contextual data and actually discussions of real-time topics that are happening on the platform that is contextualizing it as well. All right, so we're going to move. So if you haven't used Grok, highly, highly recommend it. There is a couple of things in Grok that are super interesting as part of the app. There's a voice mode as well, and if you haven't tried it, if you get it, try the unhinged version of that. It's pretty cool. But anyways, it's beyond the guardrails of any other chatbot that you're probably experiencing today. So it's not going to be like the ChatGPT AI voice mode. It's going to be very, very different, and you can kind of switch between different type of styles in there. So a little bit of a hint, but you should definitely take a look at that. All right. So the next thing is, and I'm going as fast as I can, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit all this stuff in there. Research and productivity, right? So when we think about now moving into the research and productivity side, Every is this is a publication. It used to be it was just a newsletter that started a couple of years ago, but they've been writing about AI and how AI affects everything, right? So over the past couple of years, they've transitioned from just having a newsletter to becoming a place where I go and really read some of their in-depth pieces. They usually get early access to some models or some research and so on and so forth. So they talk a lot about AI, how it affects work, and they have a podcast. So highly recommend you take a look at some of their articles, but it's paid. It's a paid subscription. And as part of that paid subscription, they also starting to developing products in here. So they call that Product Studio, their Every Product Studio, and they have 4 different products. And one of the ones, if you're on a Mac, Sparkle is actually a product that cleans up your desktop through AI. It organizes everything. It reads all of your titles, and then it organizes things based on media type and titles, and it uses the smart of AI to organize your desktop. I don't know why Apple is not doing this. It sucks, but I really, really appreciate. So Every is really, really good as part of that. For Sparkle is one of the tools. The other one is Spiral. Spiral is essentially a workflow tool. So if you want to use it, you can essentially put in an article and think about this as like baked in, transform any content into any other content, right? So you can kind of build in your spirals, and rather than you having a prompt that you copy and paste into a chatbot or you save it, you create a spiral, and then you can just paste that content and you'll kind of split it up into other areas, into other types of content. And it's pretty cool. I kind of like it. I've used it. I don't use it a lot, but and they're upgrading it very, very often. So it's been really nice. The last two more in here, and then we're going to go really quick, is Quora. Quora is it's essentially a inbox. So it looks at all your emails in your inbox. It connects to it, and then it kind of organizes it. produces digests of them, and it sends you an email every at 8 a.m. and it sends one at 3 p.m. and it says, okay, this is important, this is not important, this is what's happening here. And it does that automatically. So I've been using it now for a couple of weeks. I found it to be very useful because usually I'm just so distracted by just deleting my newsletters and things like that. I don't have to think about that anymore. So something interesting. The last one is Lex. Go take a look at it, but it's like an AI writer, right? So it's like a word processor and AI writer. So I gave you 4 for 1 in here. Under 4, it's actually 4 for 1. The next one under research and productivity, this we're going to have a session on this one tomorrow. So I'm going to have a session on Notebook LM, but it's essentially a personalized AI research assistant. So you load, it's from Google, and you load a whole bunch of content in there. And think about it as like when you're in school, the reason or the way they were thinking about this is that you come in, you load all your content in, and they can be from different sources, and then you can start asking questions to those. And one of the more coolest part of it is that it actually produces it produces like podcasts out of that content, and it's one of the coolest. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I have a whole session on it tomorrow. So we're going to kind of very quickly go through this. All right. Number 6, you cannot get out in 2025 without having an automation platform. And Zapier, and there is also make.com, but Zapier is one of the leaders who is innovating very quickly around AI, and they're kind of transitioning from just being an automation platform to an AI platform as well. And they have, Zapier agents are kind of this AI powered agents that you can connect them in minutes. You can load content. You can build your own agents in here, right? And you can connect it to different platforms, over 7,000 plus apps, including Element 451. So we have an app on Zapier that is, or Zapier, however you want to call it, that connects to different tools, and it actually makes it really, really easy to send data from one system to another. Or you can create your own chatbot to communicate with Element and say, okay, just export this task for me, and then you can kind of wire that up or do other crazy things in here. But this is probably one of the nicest platforms that keeps on iterating. And because of what they've built here with their AI agents, you can now start creating your own agents internally. If you use Zapier for other things, start using it. And what it does, you can see it in here, right? You can connect actions as part of that. Remember those tools and actions that agents do? Well, now you can bring in your own data. You can connect it to other apps. You can synchronize knowledge, and then you can kind of automate things in there just by running tasks. So it's kind of within that ecosystem of task management. Okay, so the next one around media generation. This is number 7, Gamma. So Gamma is, it started as just a AI presentation platform. So you can ask it to create a presentation about a topic, and it will just go behind the scenes and kind of create a presentation for you. But it's kind of transformed into a lot more than just that, right? So Gamma here, I created a whole bunch of social media cards just by dumping a bunch of content, and it generated the images for me, generated the content in here. So the other thing that I did is I went in and I dumped the whole content of that outline of the presentation from Claude that I showed you guys before. And within just a minute, it actually created the agentic AI the documentation, or actually keynote presentation, right? So some of this stuff, it's a little bit different than you saw in the presentation, but it essentially created this whole thing for me. So you can see how you can start using content from other places, but Gamma is one of my favorites. You can also create your personal website in here, because you can publish stuff from Gamma, and you can publish websites as well. So if you're creating an interactive view book, or if you're creating something that is really kind of this presentation, but it's more of an interaction, highly, highly recommend you take a look at Gamma for sure. Descript. We use this tool very, very heavily. This is a media generation, but it's actually much more than that. It's actually, if you're producing video, or if you're doing anything around video or anything, like Descript is probably your video editor. It's you can edit video with just editing text. You can create kind of shorts, and it has some really cool AI tools baked in. One of my favorites are things like AI Sound Studio, and then also the ability for, like when you read something and you don't have a teleprompter, and you read something and your eyes are on the side, but you actually want to look, it actually works. It uses AI to focus your eyes so as if you're looking directly into the video, so which is pretty cool. And of course, you can see that it generates those text components in here for social. So it does amazing things. Obviously, you can start using it, but it's a full platform, a full app for video editing, clips, captions, transcriptions, podcasting. It does, like, I use this. They bought another product that it's similar to like Riverside, but it's only for like the content can go directly into script. All right, so we're almost there, folks. So media generation. So Midjourney is the original image generator, and they have progressed over time. It used to be that Midjourney you only had available in kind of a chat interface with Discord, and you had to jump through hoops in order to get it as part of the chatbot and generate images. Well, guess what? They have actually created a website. So now you can go to midjourney.com, you can sign up for it, and it's a paid, but you can see in here, you can see some of my images that of course, I've created over time in here, but it's a really, really great image generator. I highly recommend that you go in and you start exploring some of the other ones, and you can see what the prompt is and how you can do it on your own and modify it. And then you can also do editing here as well, right? So you can do a whole bunch of other things around editing. So of course, it doesn't seem like I have used editing. I don't use the editing very often, but something to think about as part of your workflows in here. We can copy an image from a URL or edit an uploaded image. I'm not going to do that right now, so because we just don't have enough time in here. But something to think about. Obviously, if you're in the Adobe ecosystem, some of those tools in there, it needs a little bit more. Like you can do a lot of some of this stuff around editing, but something to think about is Midjourney, because it does the image generation in here, and then the library of all the folks that are creating images is pretty cool. Okay, moving on. Another honorable mention is Google Image Gen. So Google's Image Gen 3, this is part of Image FX, right? And this Image Gen is an image generator. So Midjourney, for example, they use their own image generator, but then Google has their own image generator. You probably have heard of DALL-E 2. That's ChatGPT's model for image generation. Image Gen 3 is probably one of the more advanced image generators right now. And you can access it from Gemini 2 if you have that, or you can go into the labs.google.fx and you can get Image FX in here with Image Gen 3. So this is, I would say, I love this image generator. It kind of conforms to the prompt really, really nicely. You don't have to know a lot of jargon to kind of make it what you want. There's a bunch of other tools in here that you can play around with, but image generator is, again, I've been using it a little bit lately, and I can, for example, in here, let's kind of create this image really quickly and see. But one of the things that it gives you is, obviously you can see here it's using image gen, but one of the things that it gives you is that you can start creating different aspect ratios and so on and so forth. And here you go. I think it's probably one of the better ones. Like I said, one of the better. It conforms really nicely. If you want more help around like photography, or if you want to kind of explore, let's do illustration in here and let's see if that works as well. It's kind of a nice entry point without you having to know they've done a really good on the user experience side in here. So, but obviously it's not taking, because it's like 7mm photography and then illustration at the same time. So it's conflicting a little bit. All right. So moving on. Audio generation. So 11 Labs been around for a while. It was one of the original audio generators, synthetic audio generators. The platform 11 Labs, it's really transformed into a full platform. So what you're seeing here, 11labs.io, it's transformed into a full platform around text to speech, voice changers. So it's like you can actually have your own voice, but then transcribe, use others. And what I did for actually one of my son's baseball team, like they had the walk-up songs, and then you had to call it out. Now batting, this person, and I'm like, I'm not like, I don't want to, because the naming and the spelling of those names were weird, and how you pronounce the names, you can't just write it and then have the AI, read that because the pronunciation is different. So what I did is I recorded my voice and then I changed it to a deeper, one of those voices that you have an announcer come out with. And you can do that. You can also clone your own voice in here, and you can do that very easily. So let's go take a look really quickly. But it's one of my favorite tools for any audio generation. So if you're doing any dubbing, for example, or if you're doing any sound effects or podcasting, or you can kind of take a look at this. But I actually, I can go to text to speech, and I loaded my own voice in here. So I have it literally takes about 10 seconds, 10 seconds to 30 seconds of audio you speak into it. Obviously, you can upload something for a lot more higher fidelity. I have another voice like that as well, but you can start generating that, and it will generate that audio for you. Translations in different languages. So you can start thinking about using this for text to voice if you want to change your voice for your president or whoever. And of course, they've kind of come into like full studio products as well. All right, so two more in here, and I'm not going to really go to the website. Suno.com is probably one of my, if you want to generate music yourself and a song, a full song, this is probably the better one. It's an honorable mention in here, and it's something that I highly, highly recommend you take a look at. It's a lot of fun. It generates the whole lyrics for you, different sounds, different genres. You can kind of take inspiration, and it's really, really amazing, right? So you can create audio, you can create instrumentals for your podcasts, or for video that you do, for video that you do in the script. You can come in here and create that audio. So it's really a really nice platform for generating music, and their newest models are really good as well. All right, guys. And last one, of course, one of the better tools out there in higher ed for AI. It's our Element 451. So with our Bolt AI engine, like we do some amazing things here with Agentic. And if you don't have a CRM, or if you don't have any of the tools, take a look at Element. Generative search for your website, AI assistants and AI chatbots, kind of automated marketing and marketing AI assistants. And then, of course, you can get down to student success through AI as well, application management, and so on and so forth. So I'll leave it at this. And thank you I think I ended just in time here with literally like 7 seconds to spare, but I did not. I hope I talked really, really fast. So do not double X this.
That was incredible, Ardis. I think everyone is looking forward to getting your slide deck and this recording because we could not keep up. Folks, Jamie's session on the AI maturity model is starting right now. So let's all make our way over to that next session. But Ardis, that was really, really great. Thank you so much. Folks, we'll see you in the
Thanks,
next
everybody.
one. Bye.